country had witnessed another haul of 50-plus COVID-19 deaths, while over 8,000 positive cases were registered yesterday. With the depressing COVID scenario amid acute shortage of oxygen, many community and private hospitals in the capital have started cutting down on their services to coronavirus patients, further worsening the crisis. Good morning, I'm Sarah Chitrakar, and these are the headlines of the hour. The country records 53 COVID-19 deaths and 8,287 cases yesterday. Hospitals in Kathmandu start cutting down their services to COVID-19 patients amid acute shortage of oxygen. The parliamentary party of the main opposition, Nepali Congress, decides not to give vote of confidence to Prime Minister Oli. Requests other opposition parties to do the same. A blast in Afghan capital, Kabul, leaves at least 30 people dead and dozens injured ahead of this year's celebration of Eid al-Fitr next week. And Bayern Munich wins historic 9th straight Bundesliga title as Leipzig loses at Dortmund. The COVID-19 scenario is looking frightening with every passing day as the country registered 8,287 positive cases and 53 deaths yesterday. The country recorded over 8,000 cases of COVID-19 with 17,315 samples tested through the PCR method. According to the Health Ministry, there are 83,493 active cases as of latest update, while 398 individuals are in various quarantine centers across the country. Meanwhile, 3,370 individuals have registered full recovery, taking the total recoveries to 298,765. The government has decided to turn the new building of Bir Hospital in the capital into a unified central hospital for COVID-19 patients. The meeting of the Council of Ministers held at the Prime Minister's official residence in Balwata decided to establish a unified COVID hospital with 500 beds in the initial phase. The government is also preparing to expand the hospital. Likewise, the meeting of the Council of Ministers has passed the Operation Order 2078. The decision is said to have taken due to the dramatic rise in infection rate. Prior to this, the meeting of CCMC had recommended to establish the new building of Bir Hospital as COVID-19 Unified Hospital. The community and private hospitals in Kathmandu have started to cut down on their services to COVID-19 patients due to acute shortage of oxygen. The hospitals have decided to cut down services as the country's healthcare system has been hit hard by the pandemic. Helping Hands Community Hospital in the capital's Jaba Hill has reduced its services by 50% due to acute shortage of oxygen. The hospital has cut its services by half from Friday in COVID care unit, ICU and high dependency unit due to increase in number of serious patients amid shortage of oxygen supply. Along with Helping Hands Community Hospital, the situation is similar in Kathmandu's Medicare, Dirghayu, Nepal India Friendship Hospital and other hospitals. Various other community and private hospitals have said that the continuous treatment of COVID patients is not possible amid the lack of oxygen supply. Meanwhile, Patan Hospital in the capital's Lalitpur, which is currently treating around 190 coronavirus patients, is also facing lack of oxygen supply, as the hospital informed that they are receiving only 270 cylinders per day, while there is a daily demand of 350 cylinders. The hospitals have said they are compelled to operate limited beds until regular supply of oxygen is available. The government on Friday publicized criteria regarding the requirement and use of oxygen. The critical patients kept in ICUs and ventilators require a maximum of 10 liters of oxygen per day, and critical patients in high dependency units require a maximum of 8 liters. Meanwhile, other patients require 4 liters of oxygen on a daily basis. The hospitals are required to store oxygen cylinders with a sufficient supply to last for a week. Meanwhile, the scenario only indicates towards an increasing health crisis. The oxygen supply chain should be immediately managed to prevent the situation from going out of hands. Prime Minister Oli has accused social events for prompting the rapid surge in coronavirus cases in the country. Prime Minister Sharma Oli, during an interview with CNN yesterday, claimed that the coronavirus pandemic in the country is under control.
The situation in Nepal is under control now, we must say, and we have 78,629 active cases. As of now, recovery rate is 68.6%. And as of yesterday, 8,579 people lost their lives. It's a very huge number for
Meanwhile, the health crisis in the country is far from under control. The country has been reporting over 8,000 cases and around 50 deaths on a daily basis amid the shortage of oxygen supply and hospital beds. Meanwhile, Premier Oli, violating the restrictions imposed on public gatherings by the Council of Ministers on 5th of April, had invited his cadres on various social events. An equal crowd was witnessed during the inauguration of the iconic Tower of Tarara in the capital. Premier Oli also held assemblies of parties' unions, defying the decision of the Council of Ministers. During the interview with CNN, Prime Minister Sharma Oli urged the international communities to help Nepal in its fight against COVID-19. The parliamentary party meeting of the main opposition, Nepali Congress, has decided not to give vote of confidence to the incumbent government. The parliamentary party meeting held yesterday decided to stand against Prime Minister Sharma Oli's vote of confidence, approving the decision taken by the Central Working Committee on 5th of April with the party to lead the government. Likewise, decision was also taken not to participate in the Constitutional Council meeting summoned by the Prime Minister today. Leaders of various political parties have failed to fulfill their promises made to the general public during the time of elections. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked the local residents in Pashthar what is their say on the selfish nature of the leaders. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
जब आफ्नो लक्ष्य प्राप्ति हुन्छ उहाँहरूले त्यसपछि चाहिँ सबैजनालाई खास मात्रामा उहाँहरूले विशेष चिन्नु पर्ने थोरैलाई चिन्नुहुन्छ अरूलाई त खासै उहाँहरूले चिन्नु पनि हुन्न
एउटा जनतालाई चाहिँ युज गरेर आफ्नो स्वार्थको निमित्त एउटा खुड्किलो चढ्ने बाटो मात्रै बनाएको जस्तो लाग्छ
त्यो जो नेता भएर गछ उसको त्यो एकदम निज र त्यो चाहिँ एकदम खराब हो त्यो व्यक्तिगत स्वार्थमा लाग्नु भनेको
दलहरुमा इमानदारीता अनि नहुनु र जनताप्रति जवाबदेही नहुनु नै यसको मूल कारण हो
यी परजीवी हुन् जस्तो लाग्न थाल्यो अर्काको चुसेर खाने यी परजीवी एक जुका प्रविधि जस्तो लाग्छ
It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion. Here's the question: why did Nepal lack to exhibit adequate initiatives towards China's readiness to extend cooperation in controlling COVID-19? Your options are A. Failure to set priority, B. Complex supply process, and C. Effect of geopolitics. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Stay safe and take care.